You are Locked On Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day.
Welcome into the Braves POSTCAST, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. I'm Grant McAuley. He is Jake Mastroianni, and we are coming to you after an 8-4 victory for the Braves over the Philadelphia Phillies at Truist Park. A great all-around win for Atlanta, and something we've been waiting to see a lot this season is to see day after day after day in which the Braves are picking up hit after hit after hit, because that means they can score run after run after run. We also saw that on this night. We're going to get into all of that as the Braves take a 2-1 lead in this series over the Phillies. A lot of great things to talk about, and of course, we'll get you set for the finale, which will be coming your way tomorrow. Before we do that, though, I want to remind you to subscribe to the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta YouTube page. We're approaching 1,500 subscribers, so if you're one of those, we appreciate it. If you're not, go ahead, click that button and enable those notifications so you'll get alerts every time we drop a new episode. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcasts. You'll get every episode of the Braves POSTCAST, as well as all the great stuff that Jake has coming your way all season long. With all of that said, Jake, we got a lot of great stuff to get into on this episode of the show, because we're coming to you after an 8-4 Braves victory, in which the old phrase I always used to hear and still hear when you talk to the Braves about when things are going right with the offense, they like to, and I quote, keep the line moving. And the line was moving on this night.
Yeah, it's the game I've been asking for weeks now. It seems like they had the big inning early, but then they continued to add on throughout the game, and that was great to see. Exactly what I've been asking for from this team, from this offense. It made it a stress-free end of the game, which is nice to see as well.
Yeah, no, you have to love that. So maybe we'll start calling these nights in which the Braves score early and score often and add on. We'll call them the Jake Mastroianni special, because those are the kind of wins that we do need to see. You're absolutely right. There have just been so many opportunities this year where it seemed like the Braves offense, it gets out to an early lead, grabs a couple of runs, or is able to kind of match with a team for the first few innings, and then they leave runners out on the base paths. They don't come through with hits with runners in scoring position. But that was not a problem, and hasn't really been a problem the last couple of games, really since this lineup shuffle that happened at the start of this Phillies series. Yeah, the opener didn't go the way they wanted it to, but it did seem like the framework was being put in place, perhaps for some of the pressure to be taken off of some of these Braves hitters, and for other guys who are hitting the ball extremely well, like Dansby Swanson, for example, to jump up and maybe contribute a little bit more to this lineup. So let's talk about some of his contributions and, of course, what happened in this game with the line score for game number 44 of the season, game 3 of 4 against the Phillies in this series. Philadelphia drops to 20-44, losing this one, 4 runs, 11 hits, an error, and 10 men left on base. Braves are now 21-23, 8 runs on 13 hits, no errors, and 9 men left aboard for the Braves, who make a winner out of Spencer Strider, who I thought really came in a key situation when Charlie Morton was just not able to get out of trouble in the 5th inning. Spencer Strider took care of that, and he shut down the Phillies offense from there, and the bullpen behind him did the work it needed to do as well. That, of course, was Colin McHugh. Jose Alvarado takes a loss in this game. He drops to 0-2 on the year. Strider, if I didn't mention that, now 1-1 on the season. No save in a game that lasted exactly 3.5 hours, and a crowd of 29,339 were on hand to see it. Jake, let's jump into the offense here. We kind of got some late-breaking news right before this thing started. Ronald Acuña Jr., sore quad, not going to start this game. You had to kind of wonder at that point, what are we going to get out of the Braves offense when the key or feature player that we usually talk about every single night is not going to be in there? Sounds like a day-to-day thing, but the answer to this was a 13-hit attack for the Braves and 3 home runs. So all's well that ends well, right?
Yeah, it was. And it's a bummer, anytime Acuña's not in there, and, a little worrisome that these things keep kind of popping up. And I think it's just going to be something he deals with. Just a quick note on that. I'm glad he's at least being honest in this. He wants to play every day, but I'm glad he's at least telling them when he's feeling these things so they can take care of it and get him back in there, hopefully sooner rather than later. But yes, you're right. Him leaving that lineup, you thought, okay, what happens with this offense now? And they came right out and continued to hit. 3rd straight game with double-digit hits and 5 2-out RBI. That was huge in this game. 7 walks, taking the free passes, taking advantage of that Phillies pitching. So certainly some great signs. Again, we've talked about it, all week, the reshuffling of the lineup. Look, these are the same guys. Things have just been changed up a little bit, other than William Contreras getting put in there every day. I mean, it's the same guys. It's just the shakeup of the lineup. And for whatever reason, that seems to have got them going a little bit, changed their mindset, maybe refocus them, whatever. It seems to be working, and they just continue to rack up the hits. And on Wednesday, they were able to get the runs as well, get some home runs in there.
Yeah, 3 home runs for the Braves in this game. You mentioned William Contreras, 7th home run of the season. Austin Riley, his 9th home run, and Dansby Swanson, an opposite field shot. Some of us might refer to those as an oppo taco, perhaps. Dansby Swanson, 6 home runs on the year now. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what he's been doing because after the, and I mean frigid, just frozen, dead of winter kind of start that he has really come on for the Braves in addition to playing some great defense. Before we get into all that, though, I want to let you know about LinkedIn and LinkedIn Jobs, which helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Well, the Braves have not had to post any jobs in their lineup, but they have been trying to fill, I think, the right spots in the order and perhaps figure out a way to spark this group and get them going. And let's start with Dansby Swanson, who moved up toward the top of the order on this night. And all he did was respond with a 4-hit game. He now has 9 hits in this series. He's up to 268 on the season now. And this was a guy that was hitting 143 on April the 20th and a guy who struck out in 20 of his first 40 at-bats this season. He's batting .327 in his last 30 games. Jake, he's not only been bringing the glove, now he's bringing the lumber. Looks like Dansby Swanson's in one of these patented hot streaks that he does find throughout the season.
Yeah, look, his third 4-hit game of his career. I mean, just an excellent night. He's all over everything. He comes up in the 9th inning. The Braves pretty much have the game in hand. You think, maybe he'll throw this at bat away. No, he comes out and rips a single into left field, goes first to third on a ball. So, I mean, he is just locked in right now. And this might surprise some people who were asking for the Braves to get rid of Dansby Swanson early on. He's been the best player for the Braves in the month of May. I mean, it's been a while now. You look at the team stats in May, and he was right there at the top, outside of some of the counting numbers. He's right there, in terms of hits, home runs, all of it. I mean, he's right there at the top. You look at FanGraphs WAR, and he has the highest WAR for the entire season of any Braves player. A lot of that because of the great defense that he has played. So, I mean, he has been the best player in May for the Braves, other than when Ronald Acuña Jr. is in there, obviously. But he has been one of the best players for them all season as well. So it's great to see this from Dansby. We know from history he's going to have hot and cold streaks, but when he is hot like he is right now, it is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it has been. And like I said, just over the last 30 games now, approaching .330 on his batting average. He's got lots of extra base hits in there. He is taking his walks. He's scoring his runs. He's driving in runs. He's hitting home runs. Lots of things have been going right for him. And that's one of the many things that the Braves needed to get going right in their lineup. They have Austin Riley starting to swing the bat a little bit better in this one. We saw Marcell Ozuna, only 1 hit on this night, but now a 12-game hitting streak. So some continuity, at least, from Marcell, who was one of the many Braves who seemed like he was ice cold for a while. We've seen Ozzy Albies come up with some multi-hit games. He was once again tasked with hitting near the top of the order because I think right-handed Ozzy against a lefty starter like Ranger Suarez, who was not around to factor in the decision of this game, you always love to see that because he's so good from that side of the plate. So why not give him a shot at the top of the order? And that's exactly what happened on this night. Now, we talked about the Braves pitching a little bit and Charlie Morton not being around to factor in the decision either. 4 1/3 innings, 4 earned runs for him. Not all the hits were hit hard, but there were enough of them that the Phillies were able to either sneak through the infield or get just beyond some diving Braves infielders in general in order to score their 4 runs. 9 hits on the day, just 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. He did allow a home run as well, but it was Spencer Strider who came on after that and was, I think, one of the big stories on this night in addition to the Braves offense. 2 2/3 for him, hitless relief, couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. Jake, he now has 37 strikeouts in 24 1/3 innings here in 2022. That's 13.7 Ks per 9 if you're scoring at home. I know a lot of people have been saying, yeah, I want to see Spencer Strider start, and maybe we're still going to see that. But I'll tell you, when the bullpen door swings open and the Braves hand Spencer Strider, what I think has, as the season has gone on, become more and more responsibility to really give them some quality innings, this man has stepped up, stepped in, and delivered.
Yeah, and I love him in this role when the Brave starter, only goes 5, or in this case, couldn't even get through 5, and the game is close. I love him in this role. It was a little frustrating to see when he was used recently in the 7th inning for just 1 inning, and it was the most dominating inning I've ever seen. And then you take him out just because, it's a back end of a game inning. But I love him in this role when he comes in and he can give you multiple innings and pitch like he did and was as dominant as he is. Like, he's not always going to come out and be that dominant, although the percentages have been pretty good this year. But when he is throwing that well, you have to continue to ride that out and let him throw. And then he takes off 2 days, and then you bring him back and let him go multiple innings again when you need him. So I like him in this role. I'm one of those people. I want to see him as a starter still, but for what he's doing for this Braves team right now, playing that role who can come in the 6th inning and cover the 6th, 7th, potentially even 8th inning, save your bullpen like he did. And in this game, it was great because the Braves got those to add-on runs, and Strider covered those innings. And then you didn't have to use Mentor, who was up if the lead, stayed at 3 runs there. So, there was a huge outing from Spencer Strider, who, as you mentioned, has been great all year, and it's just a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most fun things to watch about this Braves season, I know there's been highs and lows, and for most Braves fans, they probably feel like there have been a lot more lows than there have been anything, and the Braves are making that slow climb once again, back up towards 500. They're a couple of games under now. They won't be able to get there in this series, but they do have a chance to take a step in, or take another step towards that, rather, and then perhaps in the weekend, when the Miami Marlins come back in, if the Braves can win another series, they could find themselves at 500 or better. Those are the first steps, I think, that the Braves need to take toward reestablishing themselves. And the big step toward that was getting this offense going. And this was the 3rd consecutive game with 10 or more hits. This, Jake, was something we had been waiting a very long time to see. The ensemble was added. And how about the late addition to the lineup, Orlando Arcia? He was added again. 2 for 3, couple of doubles, run batted in, a run scored, a walk, batting .341 on the season. And I will stress, very limited playing time. In fact, it seems like every week or so he gets some at bats, but man, does he make the most of them?
Yeah, Frenchie mentioned it on the telecast. Like, how difficult is it for a guy to come in once every week, maybe sometimes every other week, and then he comes in and produces when called upon? I mean, that is just incredible work by Orlando Arcia, and tough luck on that double play, a ball that was
Yeah.
absolutely ripped with the bases loaded that really would have broken this thing open.
Mhm.
Turns into a double play, but still, yeah, I mean, he's been great when called upon coming off the bench. And again, with the DH, he's somebody who, is not going to get a lot of playing time. He's not going to get at bats, every game or several times a week. So, it's been great to see what he's been able to do to be able to come in and stay focused despite the limited playing time.
Yeah, and the Braves have needed. I know a lot of people have looked at, well, why didn't he play more, especially when Dansby was in such a slump? But I think that part of getting guys through slumps is allowing them to play and hit their way out of that. And I don't think that either Dansby Swanson or Austin Riley needed to take a prolonged seat, even though you do have Arcia that you can use on occasion if somebody's a little bit banged up. But I think that some of the struggles that the Braves have been through, now we're seeing the work and the effort to push through that and get to where you're starting to see some results. And as they say, the worm is starting to turn for this Braves club. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about game 4 of this series, as it is a 4-gamer that'll be happening on Thursday night at Truist Park, as the Phillies and the Braves will meet for the finale with Kyle Wright on the mound for Atlanta. He's 4-2 with a 2.49 ERA. Aaron Nola will be on the mound for the Phillies, just 1-4 this year. ERA just under 4 at 3.96. Nola has been, I think, one of the better right-handers in the National League, but he has had some ups and downs over the last couple of years. Meanwhile, Kyle Wright has established himself as one of the Braves' best pitchers and one of the big early surprises in all of Major League Baseball. Sounds like a very interesting marquee pitching matchup for these two teams, Jake.
Yeah, it should be really good at, it depends lately on the last couple of years what Nola you get. He can
Mhm.
come out and throw 6, 7 shutout innings, or you come out and get 4 on him and run him out of there after the 5th inning. I hope it's the latter, obviously. But yeah, I want to see what Kyle Wright can do too. Can he continue to have a good start against a good Phillies lineup who's been very good offensively in this series? They've had some great at bats. Mentioned it yesterday's postcast. They've been really, really good at the plate too. So going to be a tough test for Kyle Wright, but hopefully the offense continues to hit. Hopefully we'll get an update on Acuña.
Yeah.
And I'm not a weatherman, but hopefully we get to play this game on Thursday. I know the weather doesn't look great there, but I want to see, hopefully they get to play, and hopefully the Braves can get a 4-game series win. No more of these splits in these 4-game, 2-game series. I'm ready for a series win.
Yeah, and it would be big too to take 3 out of 4 in a series. If you got to play that extra game, it's nice when you're able to win that series. You're absolutely right. So Kyle Wright will be on the mound. We'll have a chance to give the Braves that opportunity. He's 4-2 on the year. Nola just 1-4 on the mound for the Phillies in the finale of this 4-game set. Again, 7:20 p.m. Eastern time. That is the first pitch scheduled at Truist Park. The weather has been a little bit questionable this week, but we've been able to get the first 3 games in. Hopefully, that'll be the same for the 4th. That'll wrap us up here on the Braves Postcast, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. We appreciate you joining us on this night. Make sure that you subscribe to the Locked On Sports Atlanta YouTube page and also to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcasts. He's Jake Mastroianni. I am Grant McAuley. It was once again a very good night for the Braves at the ballpark as they picked up an 8-4 victory over the Philadelphia Phillies. We look forward to catching you after the finale of this one, hopefully to talk to you about another Braves win right here on the Braves Postcast, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. But until then, so long, everyone.